welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Anello Show on WJJL 1440. And today we have a special guest. And before we go to the special guest, let me just say that I hope all of you remember there's an election coming up in September, and that you start paying attention on who the candidates are, who they really are. Not who they say they are, but who they really are, because we keep complaining about public officials, and sometimes people get upset when I say that, we're the ones that put them there. Okay? So, when it comes right down to it, it's no different than, when you have problems with your kids, you can blame the world, you can blame the community, you can blame the school district, but when you cut it all down, you have to look at yourself as a parent, and then you start getting a little bit concerned about it, when the finger is pointed at you. So when we have problems with government, I can only say is, first look at yourself as a citizen, as a resident, and say, okay, what have I done personally and directly to make the system better? Because the people that you complain about now are the people that you elected the last election. It's just as simple as that. It's not a big secret. It's not a big, brain tease. That's just the way it is. And I think it's important that we all certainly learn to work together. But at the same time, I think we have to make some tough choices. And sometimes you can't vote for your best friend. Sometimes you have to vote for the person you think can do a better job. I'll give you an example. I always say that, especially when I used to work construction, because, it wasn't unusual for the guys to stop for a beer. And one of the things I used to say is, you might enjoy having a beer with that guy, but think about that guy. Do you really want him to marry your sister? Okay? You might be a fun guy, but do you really want him to marry your sister? Do you want him at the Sunday dinner table being your brother-in-law? Okay? And that's the way you have to look at people that seek public office. Would you want that person to be a member of your family? Not the person that you party with, but the person that you really want him or her to be a member of your family. That might be a little deep, but the fact of the matter is that I believe that all public officials, their job is that important that you need to scrutinize it in that way. So let's introduce our guest today, and our guest today is Saladin Allah, and he's running he'll explain to you how he's going to appear on the ballot, because he did an opportunity to ballot, and he will explain that to you. And he's on the 4th District. The 4th District right now is being represented by Owen Steed, Democrat. And good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm excellent.
Now, do you have a statement that you would like to kind of start the program with? I want you to introduce yourself and just give us a little background on yourself. And if you can, and I know we'll get deeper on it in a minute, but tell us a little bit about why you decided to run for office.
Okay. Well, first, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Anello, for letting me be on the show and providing me with this platform and opportunity to inform our voters in the district about my background, who I am, some of the things I've done, some of the things I'm actively doing right now, and then some of my vision for the community once I get into the legislative position. I was born and raised here in the city of Niagara Falls. I was one of 7 children. My mother is Lois Frank. My father is Philip Frank. My mother, Lois, she graduated from Niagara University with a degree in psychology and sociology when she was about 42 years old. My father, he worked for the local painters union here for the city of Niagara Falls. I grew up in a household that was very socially, economic, and culturally conscious. So at a very young age, I was orientated in such a way where my parents instilled in me values and principles around family, around community. And from that foundation, I chose a career path that was an extension of those values that my parents laid as a foundation. Professionally, I'm a successful youth mentor. I've been doing youth mentor, youth outreach, and community activism here in the city of Niagara Falls for the last 15 years. And I'm also a published author. I've published 10 books of my own, writing along the subjects of social commentary. And I've also helped other authors get their books published, not only locally, but also authors in other states as well. In addition to that, I'm an effective public speaker, so I go to different colleges, different institutions, not just here locally, but also in other places to do workshops, speaking engagements. So a lot of people ask me why I'm running for public office, and because of the youth outreach, the community activism that I've been doing for years now, not just locally, but also in other states, people in the community themselves actually encouraged me to run because they saw the educational background, the experience that I have to best serve their needs that I've been doing on a grassroots already. So when it comes to legislator, I've never approached this position to say, vote for me or elect me, this is what I'm going to do. I've always approached it from the perspective of, this is what I've done, this is what I'm doing right now. And if you assess the things that I've done and what I'm doing right now, it gives you a better assessment of what I have the potential to do given this platform in the legislature.
Well, that's definitely a refreshing or unique perspective on why people run. We do have some callers on the line. Let's go to the callers, and then I'll ask you some questions and see how that works out.
Okay.
Caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on.
Saladin, Allah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to say congratulations. This is Sincere Understanding Allah from Texas.
How you doing, bro? Where you calling from?
Texas.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So, just to give you some of the listeners a little more insight, what type of relationship do we have, and how have you even got in contact with me? Because you're calling all the way. What part of Texas are you calling from, bro?
I'm Killeen, Texas.
Okay. So, yeah, for the listeners that's here, just tell a little bit about how we got in contact with each other as far as the type of relationship that we have, so they can get a little more insight into the things that I do, not just locally, but some of the things that I've been doing in other states and around the country.
Well, first of all, I would like to put some emphasis on some things that you spoke on. I have purchased a couple of your books, which was very inspiring to myself and has helped me out a lot.
Okay.
And we have attempted to work with the youth on this end as well.
Okay.
So,
yeah, you know what?
I'm familiar with your background.
Okay, I appreciate that, bro.
That I think you'll be a very, very asset to your community out there.
Okay.
In Niagara Falls.
Okay, thanks, bro.
Thank you very much, caller. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Wow, that was my first call from Pennsylvania.
That was Texas.
That's right. That's right, Texas. I was just going to say, this is the first call on the other side of the Mississippi.
That's good.
Okay. We do have another caller on the line. Caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on. Hello.
Yeah, I'm calling from Arizona. This is true.
Oh, my God. Well, I'm expecting some of my relatives from Italy to call up pretty soon.
If it's Sicily, you might get a call.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm from. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and show my support for Saladin. I'm a homeschooler, and just on his channel on YouTube, I utilize a lot of his bills and for educational purposes in my homeschool curriculum. And, the duty this brother has is very involving of the whole community, because even though we live in like a capitalistic society, like his duty involves, spreading the information to others who can benefit from it as well, because where he comes from, we advocate each one teach one. and you're supposed to teach others what you know to others who don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in like a lot of people who are in certain positions, they tend to just be all about themselves and want to like be career politicians, if you will, and not spread the wealth. And meet more brothers like this brother, in legislation. And I guess the biggest thing I would say about Saladin, man, is like I have a platform where I invite others who are doing in the community to come on and share the information that helps benefit the wants or addresses the wants and needs and desires of our communities. And he put me on to like a great endeavor that's going on in Philadelphia.
Absolutely.
And they're building a great institution out in Philadelphia for the community is definitely going to build from. So I really appreciate that. And he's the truth. So I had to call in and let everybody know.
I appreciate that,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller. Appreciate it. Again, it looks like you do have some friends all around the country, and it's good to know. But let's bring it back to the 4th District, okay? Because as we were speaking before the show started, excuse me, my only relationship with the county, for instance, as a taxpayer and a resident of the city of Niagara Falls, is sending my check for the property taxes. I have no other relationship with the county other than I recognize the fact that they're, that's where the public records are kept. Whether it's the deed to your home or information about your property and other public records, they kept at the county level. And so there's a relationship there that we don't think about, until we buy a piece of property or sell a piece of property or something along those lines. You rarely get really even any service from the sheriff unless you're speeding on a country road. So other than that, you really don't have, as a resident of the city of Niagara Falls, you really don't have a day-to-day relationship with the county. At least it's not obvious. Let's put it that way. It's not like seeing a police car here in Niagara Falls or seeing the trucks from the Department of Public Works or the vehicles from inspection. Every day you get reminded what your city does for you or what their responsibilities are. So, as a 4th District legislator, what would you be doing for, let's say, forget the rest of the city, but at least for the people that you would directly represent as a legislator? What could you do for them?
Well, the fact that the 4th District is within the city boundaries itself, a lot of my work will definitely be serving the needs of the people who are specifically in this district. And like we said before we were on air, a lot of the role that I've already been playing in this community as far as activism, youth outreach, today that has become a very non-traditional background for people who are in public office, especially county legislators. So like I said, I've never approached this position to say, once I get this position, this is what I'm going to do. There's a lot of things that I've already been doing. I'm only 38 years old, and there's a lot of things that I've done just in that short period of 38 years that people twice my age that are in positions of public office right now have never even done. And I've done a lot of this based upon being resourceful, based upon being proactive, not waiting around, letting grass grow under my feet for somebody to give me money or to finance me. No, this is because I've always seen a need, and I've stepped up to serve that need. So as a county legislator, not only in the context of that position will I be looking over the budget for the county and making sure that the services are allocated towards, different communities, but just in a everyday, daily basis. I'm going to be amongst the community like I've always been amongst the community, doing public speaking engagements, doing workshops with the youth, making sure that I stay in contact with the people who are going to put me in that position as far as their representative. And like I said, that's a very non-traditional role nowadays because a lot of people are not active. And growing up, one thing I learned, because my father taught me a lot, one of the things that he taught me is that you have to be leery of the naked man offering you a shirt.
Right.
And oftentimes, when people are running for public office, you see the platform goals, but then you look at what they're doing on a daily basis, and there's no consistency there. For example, my youngest daughter, she's going into the 11th grade, and she is now a part of the National Honor Society and the Spanish National Honor Society. My oldest daughter, she's leaving to go to college this week. She earned a lacrosse scholarship at Howard University. I myself attended Central State University and studied therapeutic recreation. Their mother graduated high school at 16. So if I sit here and say that education is important, it's reflected in my home life.
Right.
I can't say that I'm a supporter of education and my own children are in summer school. Or if I'm talking about health and wellness in the community, I should look healthy and well.
Right.
Or if I'm talking about more activities for our youth, I should be active. You know, there should be a level of consistency there. So, like I said, as a county legislator, not only will I be in a position to affect the community as far as policy and procedure is concerned, but it'll give me another platform to further extend the youth outreach, the community program that I've already been doing, that I'm going to continue to do regardless of what position I'm in.
Well, you know, a couple of things came to mind, you know, as you were as we were listening to the callers, you know, and one of the things that came to mind was when the second gentleman said about, you know, about knowing what you know. He's saying teach what you know. You know, pass it on. Don't keep it to yourself. You know, that reminded me of when I was an apprentice, electrical apprentice. One of the things that some of the older journeymen that we're supposed to teach you would do is keep everything a secret. And I remember one day during a coffee break, I walked over towards the gang box and I started looking at the drawings. I mean, I almost had my fingers cut off how fast he closed the lid to the gang box because he didn't want me to look at the drawings. And I started thinking, you know, the reason he's so much smarter is he has the drawings. I don't. I have to keep asking questions, you know, and he has all the answers. And the reason he has all the answers, not because he's that much smarter than I am, is because he has the drawings, and he learned how to read the drawings. So that put it in my head that whether they were willing to teach me or not, and I have to tell you, most of the men, they recognized that there was their job. You know, you were an apprentice, they were the journeyman, and they were supposed to pass the knowledge along, and they did that quite well. But there were a few that were a little bit timid about teaching or giving up their trade secrets, so to speak, you know. So that kind of lit up a little light bulb there for me. We do have other callers on the line, and let's go to our next caller. Caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on. Okay. Again, it's he's there, but I think he's listening to the radio.
Okay.
You know, but again, you know, it's important. Some of the points that you brought up, I can relate to, and I fully understand.
You know, another thing that I find myself doing as well, just going out into the community and talking to some of the community members that I don't see on a daily basis, is that a lot of people don't have any idea what a county legislator is, what the job description of a county legislator does, or even who their representative is. I talked to one gentleman, and he was telling me he was under the impression that someone that's serving in the position right now is somebody that's been out of office years ago.
Right.
And that is generally the standard in the community. Most people have no idea who their representatives are, what they do, or how they can hold them accountable for being their representative.
No, exactly.
You know?
And that's true, and that's been true in this town, all over the city, because I can give you some, I certainly can give you some of my experiences just circulating petitions, you know, the kind of the experiences that I had. But we do have other callers on the line. Caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good morning. My name's Taronda Thornton, and I'm actually calling from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, man, we're hearing the whole country out there. All right.
Yes, I'm originally from California, but I'm calling in because I just wanted to lend my support to Saladin, kind of share a story of how I was introduced to him and how he was introduced to my life and my family. It'll be a brief story, but basically my husband, he reached out to Saladin after watching some videos on YouTube about 5 years ago, and he sent Saladin an email, not thinking that he would get a real response from a real person. You know, you see YouTube videos, you don't always know if these people are who they say they are.
Right.
And long and behold, he did send a follow-up email, and then he actually reached out to my husband. And, you know, since Saladin has been in our lives, it has changed our lives tremendously. My husband has definitely grown as a person. But I just wanted to kind of share that story just to let people know that he is who we say he is, and he really is about community. I mean, he reached out to somebody that he didn't know that's in another state, 5,000 miles away, and he still took the time out to...
Right. I understand what you're saying. Thank you very much, caller. Thank you.
Can I add on a little bit?
Sure,
to that caller?
Sure.
The husband that she was talking about, I was doing a youth mentorship program here in the city at the Niagara Falls Boys and Girls Club, and I was working with youth. I had a smart girls class that I was teaching. It was abstinence education and just teaching them life skills. Now, her husband, they're living in Las Vegas right now, but he's actually from California. He was a member of the Crips gang in California. So in order for him to turn his life around, he went to college, and he had to move out of that area because he was associated with people, places, and things that represented that lifestyle. Now, one day, I was doing a class with my youth, and some of them were talking about gang activity and, you know, I'm a Crip, I'm a Blood, this, that, and the third. So I called my brother up, who's living in Las Vegas now, and I had a live conference call right then and there so that he could really inform them about what the gang lifestyle was actually about and tell them about some of the things that they had misconceptions about. So the people who are calling in from different places, these are global networks and resources that I have established over a period of time that I actually bring to a local office in a local position. So, you know, that's, you know, in one sense, me serving a purpose for my sister and her family out in Vegas and in California, they likewise serve the purpose, and it's mutual.
No, I understand that. Caller, you're on.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling all the way from Niagara Falls, New York.
Yeah.
Well, we're not taking any local calls. No, just kidding. You can call 297-1059.
I'm almost in the town of Niagara. One big thing in county legislature these days is some people feel that they have the right to take money that we give them to pay the rent, to use it for anything they wish. I want to know, now, if money's earmarked for something, I want to know what is your opinion. I mean, since it's earmarked for something specific, if you think someone has a right to use it for something else.
Well, I think here's what's your name, caller?
David.
Dave?
David, yeah.
Okay, Dave. I'll tell you a story that I had a few weeks ago. I was talking to someone, and they were telling me about wanting to start a homework help program with youth and how they're really interested in doing that, but they got to find a building and get some finances, this, that, and the third. And I looked at him and I said, "You work, right?" He said, "Yeah." And I said, "I work too." And I was like, the dollar store is right down the street. If you are really sincere and interested about assisting others, then you would do what's necessary and be proactive about doing it yourself, not waiting around for anybody to do it. So when it comes to money that's allocated towards certain things, sometimes things may need to be redirected because you have an order of priorities that, you know, for example, when we just had that storm in July caused a lot of changes in people's priorities. They may have had a certain amount of money earmarked towards certain things, but because of that storm, some people had to get a new furnace. some people had to, change around and make some lifestyle changes. So I don't think that a person should make a unilateral decision, especially when it's dealing with funds that affect the community and it's other people's money. No, you definitely do not have the right to just make a decision on where that money needs to go. You have to have a consensus with the people of this is what we need, this is what is most important, and these are where our priorities lie. Not telling people what you're going to do, but getting the information and the support from the people to make those decisions.
Okay, so what you're saying is, are you saying that if you ask me for $20 for gas, and I give you $20 and you go out and buy a new baseball mitt, are you saying that's right? Or
oh no, that's lying. People do that every day.
The big thing in the county legislature is only one person voted against it, and that was Steve, because he thinks it's their money. It's like, but if we earmark something and say, no, this is what it's for. That's
I understand you're talking about the housing,
the housing,
the rental
issue.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the issue that I have with that primarily. That money that's allocated towards housing should be allocated towards housing, because working with youth mentoring programs and community outreach, oftentimes I may work with youth and they may be coming to the program consistently, and then all of a sudden they just disappear. I may see them on the other side of town weeks later, and I'm like, hey, what happened or whatever? And that's because their parents had to move. So making sure that landlords get the rent create stable housing, and that is the number one priority. We need stable homes for our families, especially our children. Now, what I don't agree with is the fact that in the initial legislation there wasn't enough accountability on behalf of the landlords who are owning these properties and not upkeeping those properties, because there's a lot of people in the city of Niagara Falls who are renters. And you may have landlords who may be getting their money directly, but at the same time, you go and look at the properties, and they're slums. Not all of them, but a lot of those properties are slums. So I think what would have been best is not only to make sure landlords get the money and to make sure that we have stable homes for our families, especially our children, but also a level of accountability.
But that's a different topic. I mean, saying, well, my landlord didn't fix this, so I'm not going to give him the money. Well, it's not up to you to decide. It's up to the person paying the rent, which is the taxpayers, to say, okay, we're not going to
I think what he said was that he felt that the legislation, he's okay with the idea that the money goes directly to the rental unit, to the landlord, but he also feels that the legislation, right at the beginning, didn't address this issue. You needed to address the issue of slum landlords.
True. Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So that can be taken care of by tying the two together with inspections or some kind of accountability for the landlord. And let's face it, whether people want to hear it or not, one of the problems we have in the city of Niagara Falls, and you hear it all the time, is absentee landlords. Now, I know that that's the hot topic, and a lot of good landlords get offended by that, but you're not talking about the good landlords because you never hear about the good landlords. The problem is that we do have slum landlords who make a ton of money by keeping these properties the way they are, and that's the problem.
That's true.
Because, not all properties are owned just by, there are people that own 30, 40 pieces of property, and every one of them has building code violations. Okay, but they're sort of like under the radar. So those are the issues. It isn't the issue of somebody that takes care of their property. They have 1 or 2 units, or they have their mom's and dad's home that they now have in Niagara Falls and live in some other community, and they're taking care of it and collecting the rent. Those aren't the issues, and those aren't the problem landlords. The problem landlords, and I'll tell you, working in the construction industry, I can tell you there's some houses that I walked into that I refused to work in. Because just the way the property was, and the landlord would get upset about it. But you know what? In some properties, you don't want to work in because you know that the issue is a lot greater than what you can handle, and I'm talking about major building codes violations, but they wanted me to take some shortcut when it came to electrical, and I just don't do that, but thank you very much, caller, appreciate it. Before we go to our next caller, what I'd like to do is talk about Niagara lawn and garden equipment, and one of the things the landlord is responsible for is taking care of the property, not just the building, but also making sure that the yard looks nice and neat. So if you need equipment, you should go to Niagara Lawn and Garden Equipment. They're located at 4833 Saunders Settlement Road. That's the place where you can test drive your Cub Cadet, take it around the parking lot. It's not too hot today, so you can go over there and check that equipment out. Niagara Lawn and Garden Equipment at 4833 Saunders Settlement Road. Also, you can check out their other services like tire repair, snow thrower tune-up, at-home service, mower tune-up, sharpened blades, and rider tune-ups. And there are many other services. So again, visit Niagara Lawn and Garden Equipment, located at 4833 Saunders Settlement Road. And also, if you're on Facebook, go to their page and please like their page. Thank you. Caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on. Caller, you're on.
Good morning. I was calling in just to show support for Saladin.
Yes. Go ahead. If you have a question, go ahead.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Rochester, New York.
Okay.
And I just wanted to speak a little bit about what he has done for the youth here in our community. We have invited him out. He's done speaking engagements for the youth. The youth were very excited about it and consistently asked for him to come back, which is not always possible because there's a little bit of travel between Niagara Falls and Rochester, but they definitely appreciated him coming out. And we've also asked him to come speak at a conference in April on trauma and hip-hop, which the youth will be very engaged in as well and very involved. They're involved in the planning stages in that as well. And just wanted to state that, Niagara Falls would be very lucky to have him as a county legislator. He will definitely be focused on the youth, and because the youth are the community's future, that's where our focus needs to be.
Okay, thank you very much for the call. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I have to tell you, Saladin, I'm starting to feel like Rush Limbaugh here.
You don't look like him, though.
Thank God for that, huh? But again, it's nice that you have all these testaments, from around, from all over, it looks like. And again, but this race is not for president. It's not for a king. It's for a county legislature, and we want to really talk about the county legislature. And caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on. Okay, I think we lost that one call. But again, it's important from my perspective. It's important that we understand what the position of each public office is. And I've been chided for trying to give civics lessons on this program. Well, when I started this program, that was my goal. So if people are, if some people see that and are complaining about it, at least I know that I've reached my goal, because that was the intent of this program right from the start. It wasn't about me becoming, some kind of radio personality. It was that I've been interested in politics forever. I love talking about government, and the pros and cons about government. I think I understand government fairly well, and I certainly understand the local politics pretty well. Okay, and for that, I feel that I almost have like a responsibility. I feel like a responsibility, and we talked about this before about having what I know. And that's basically, from that perspective, that's what I try to do, and I think all of us would serve the community well if we did that, and did mentor younger people and tell them about our experiences. Because one of the things I think with modern technology, one of the things that we're missing is that you don't see older people talking to younger people. about their life experiences or just the day-to-day living. I mean, it's gone. If your grandpa can't pick up an iPhone and text you, you're not going to be talking to your grandpa, which is totally, they're just taking a lot away from the day-to-day experiences that would sum up somebody's life. I mean, I remember things from my grandfather. I mean, I only had one grandfather. The other one had passed away long before I was born. But, even a few things that I remember, I just, they're like little videos in my mind. I mean, I just can't forget them, and they mean so much to me.
One of the important things that I always share with youth is, for example, I was talking to someone that's 17 years old the other day, and I was telling them about being able to compete in a global market with people who are your age around the world. And the analogy I gave him is, suppose you only utilize the data or the resources of your 17 years of life to solve problems. Compare that to someone who has a relationship with their grandparents, or maybe even have a lineage or a cultural foundation where they can refer to data and resources that's maybe 3,000 years old, because they may be carrying out and living by traditions and customs that are that long. And I told him, what do you think your ability would be to compete with a person where you're only operating off of 17 years and this person has maybe 3,000 years of experience or information that they can use to solve problems? And that's one thing that you see not only in our community with children who have a lacking of quality education, but you see that all around the country.
Right.
And like you said, it's important to have those type of relationships where youth are able to have access to the experiences and the education and, of the older generation. That's
exactly. And you can't live long enough to learn the things that you need to learn by you making mistakes, by learning from your mistakes. I mean, it's a good thing to say you learn from your mistakes, but you can't live life by learning just from your mistakes. The smart person learns from other people's mistakes. I mean, exactly. that's the way you live your life, and really put a lot of life into the years that you have. I mean, that's the way I see it. But again, I'd like to mention Lekanka Enterprises, and if your home needs floors, doors, or siding, or you're considering an addition, a new kitchen, or painting a room, or the whole house, or building a shed in your house like I'm going to do in a week or two, you can call Lekanka Enterprises. How about a new master bath that you've been dreaming of? Maybe a new porch or deck to enjoy your evenings. For all this and more, call Lekanka Enterprises at 622-6165. At Lekanka, we're big enough to complete your project, but small enough to give you the personal attention you deserve. They're the last call you need to make for all your home improvement and handyman needs. So call Steve at 622-6165. They look forward to hearing from you. So call Lekanka Enterprises at 622-6165. And we do have some other callers on the line, and let's go to our next caller. And caller, you're on.
Hi, my name is Dendra Moore. I'm calling from Northern Virginia.
Okay.
How are you? Today?
I'm great. How are you? I'm calling for Saladin.
Hey.
Okay, well, he's here. Would you like to say something to him?
I'm so happy to speak to you. How are you doing?
I'm excellent.
That's great. I hope you're eating your Wheaties and drinking your green juices and keeping your energy up, because I'm endorsing you all the way.
Yes, I appreciate that.
I have a comment for you. I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing for our youth. As a teacher, I appreciate that. I see the need, and it's something that we all need in every community, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
As far as what you've done for me personally, I just want to tell you a quick story. I was introduced to you by Robin Sharma, and he's an author and an exceptionalist leader. And he teaches us how to live an exceptional life, not just a good life. He led me to you because you have a video on successful undertakings. And because of that, I have started living a better life. I'm in better health. I'm in better shape. I reconnected with family members that I haven't seen, and my brother, in a long time. And I'm going for a position. I'm very nervous to talk. I'm going for a position next week that everybody says that I'm underqualified for, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I feel like that's all because of your message. So thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. And I thank all of the people in my life, such as yourself, and just throughout the course of my life, who've also been mentors to me. You know, I am because we are.
Yes. I love that. I know you're going to say something great like that.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Good luck on your future ventures. Well, that's, these calls, it doesn't seem like anybody wants to talk about politics. They want to talk about the things that you've done, which is, it's fine with me. I have no issues with that whatsoever. But before we go further, because I need for you to explain your position on the ballot, because it's very unusual. It's a very unusual situation that Saladin has gotten himself into politically, and I want him to explain it and explain it clearly, because it's very, very interesting for this area. But before we go any further, I want to talk about Dave Ruley Electric. Dave Ruley Electric at 716-990-7129 has been in business for about 30 years. Concentrating on residential and small commercial work. Dave Ruley Electric, licensed in Niagara Falls as well as surrounding communities, will have a special offer for the next few months for service upgrades. Dave Ruley Electric will upgrade your service at 10% below any written offer. The service upgrade will include all parts and material from the attachment to your house to the brand new breaker panel. If you need a receptacle, a light, or would like to make your home safer by installing ground fault receptacles, smoke detectors, and carbon monoxide detectors, call Dave at 990-7129. Dave Ruley Electric. Thank you. Again, I want you to explain your ballot position. We do have a couple calls on the line already, but I want you to explain that ballot position real quick, and then we'll go to the callers.
Okay. Well, the primary election is September 10th, Tuesday, and what I did is it's called an opportunity to ballot.
Right.
So my campaign team, we were able to secure enough signatures of registered Democrats and working family party members in order to give us an opportunity to be on the ballot.
Right.
Now, when people go to the polls, they won't see my name on the ballot. They're going to have to write my name in the ballot box.
Right.
So they're going to have to know the correct spelling.
Right.
And that's what we're doing for the primary. For the general election, I'm already going to be on the ballot I'm a registered Green Party member.
Right.
And in addition to that, we've created our own party line for the general election, too, called the Niagara Youth Party. And the four fundamental principles of the Niagara Youth Party are: number one is youth outreach. Number two is crime prevention and neighborhood safety. Number three is localism, and localism just means to promote a local living economy, meaning we should be able to pool more of our resources, our skills, and invest more in ourselves, not just sitting back waiting for someone to save us, but we need to invest more in a local living economy. And then number four is health and wellness. In the county, over 60% of the people are overweight or obese. Just a month ago, the American Medical Association has declared obesity an actual disease.
Right.
So that is definitely a problem that we have here in this community as far as health and wellness is concerned. And my philosophy is, in order to build strong, vibrant, sustainable communities, you have to have strong, vibrant, sustainable families.
Right.
And those families need to be healthy spiritually, mentally, and physically.
Okay, well, thank you. So you have the opportunity to ballot. People have to write your name in.
Yep.
And so really they have to be interested in your campaign, and they have to be almost engaged in your campaign for them to actually be able to go through the technical part of voting, because this is a little bit, this adds an extra step.
Absolutely.
You actually have to write the name in. Caller, you're on.
Good morning to the both of you.
Good morning. How are you?
So let me get this right. All county legislator meetings will now start with a class of Pilates.
Yeah.
Well, that and yoga.
Whoa. That definitely will be a change that I don't know if they're prepared for it.
You know what? I strive to get them, instead of having a public debate, I wanted them to do like a Warrior Dash obstacle course.
Yeah.
But too many people weren't interested in that.
Well, hey, that sounds good. Now, as you're running in the 4th district?
Yes.
So you're running against the current legislator, Steed?
Yeah, Owen Steed, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And is he going to be appearing with you, or you guys have any debates or anything coming up where the both of you would be present?
I'm not sure. Like I said, I wanted to do a Warrior Dash obstacle course, but a lot of people didn't want to compete in that. But no, on a serious note, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm definitely interested in doing as much public speaking engagements and just giving people an opportunity to get to know who I am, what I've done, and what I'm actually doing right now.
Is there a chance to get both the gentlemen on to do a little debate or anything for this race?
I have no problem at all with that. We have I think 2 days open between now and the election day. If I'll call Mr. Steed if he'd like to do that, and both of them be present. If it's okay with both candidates, the strategies for elections. I'm not going to impose my strategy on somebody else's election, but if they're willing to do that, I'd be glad to moderate it and really get them into a real fight.
Yeah, hopefully a part of anybody's platform is wanting to address the opponent, and both of them are going to try to tell what they'd like to do, what their changes are that they'd like to make, and how they're going to work with a legislative body that outnumbers I believe 15-4 or something like that, whatever the number is.
See, and here's the issue with that I have with how we have candidates forums. I think they're all good and all important. I think the more exposure you get and the more exposure you give to candidates, the better it is. But my problem with these types of forums is that we don't have one where candidates actually have a rebuttal, that you actually have where you not just say the standard things. Everybody's for America, apple pie, hot dogs,
baseball.
Baseball. Everybody's for that. Everybody's going to create industrial jobs. Okay, that's my pet peeve. And the question I would like to ask any candidate when they use that in their campaign materials: how are you going to do it? I haven't seen a candidates forum yet to where that question is asked. When they say they're going to do something, they're going to bring development in. Okay, how are you going to do it? Is getting along with your planning department, understanding your plan that's been approved and it's been going on for 30 years. Is any of that going to mean anything to you? Or are you bringing in a new idea, a new way of doing things? When people have to go to university and spend years of on-the-job training, so to speak, with their careers to really become good planners and good developers, how are you going to do all that? And until people understand they have to be part of a team, it's not going to happen. So when a candidate tells me that they're going to solve my problems, I have a problem already, because you got to get through that. So
there's one right there, Saladin. What do you think? Should the city utilize the county's economic development team, the IDA, or should we finally separate and have our own clear representative that is a sales guy, a marketing guy that's going to search for opportunity each and every day and present what he's trying to do? And then ultimately, I really think that if anything is going to be done from this time going forward, there has to be a survey mechanism of your own city, your own town, your own village. I don't know whether they do it on a tax bill, whatever the mechanism is going to be. It's time for the people to be asked a couple simple questions. And one would be, are you interested in moving the city forward into a better place, a better direction, and how would you get there? We have to know what people are still wanting to participate, what ideas they might have, and get the defining line about how many people you really have that do want to participate and how many that don't. If the indicator is we only have in our own city up to 8,000 to 10,000 people that are voting out of 45, 50,000 people. We have to look at ourselves and say we are in a crisis. I think I heard on the earlier show that Australia mandates that everybody votes or gets fined. When I heard that, I'm like, there it is, right there. So what do you think? Should we be using the county that you could be representing as a legislator, or should we have our own separate body? And because you're going to be in the city, representing the city through this position.
I think that we should explore all of our options and not limit it to just should we do this or that. I think a lot of times people may tend to think dichotomously, meaning if it's not this way, then it must be that way, instead of being open-minded enough to say, let's explore as many options as possible and do what's in the best interest of the collective as a whole. And I think that a lot of times you have people who are in a position where they make unilateral decisions, or they may even be limited in their own thinking and not have enough vision to say, you know what, maybe we need to ask these people and find out what their opinion is, or maybe we need to explore this option. So that's what I would say. We need to explore as many options as possible and get the consensus of the collective body of people in order to decide what way we can move forward, not only as a city but also as a county, as also as a community.
Okay. What ideas would you have to even out what happens currently, and that is that it's almost always a majority vote in their favor, and constantly the minority is bringing up subjects that more than often get voted down because of this huge majority. Where is the equalizing? Where is the mediator? How do you get in between, or how do you level the playing surface? Is there a way?
Oh, absolutely. I think one thing with the county legislature is that some people, again, may think dichotomously. If they can't do it this way, then it must be that. Or if things aren't able to get done in this way, then it just can't be done at all. And with the things that I bring to the table as a county legislator, there's two ways in which I operate. On one level, you can do things in a procedural way and say, well, let's get the support of the majority, or let's put something through the legislator in that sense. But at the same time, you can just work within the community yourself. Get the alliances of the people, the organizations, the institutions that are in the community, and get it done that way. There's many different ways you can skin a cat. And I think sometimes people rely too much on, well, I need this in order to get that done. No, a lot of times you can just get with people and do things just out of your own pocket with your own proactiveness and your own will to get things done.
So good. Have you ever attended any legislator meetings currently?
No, not any of the current ones.
I think that might be a good place to start as you're running for a position where you're going to be all the time, and take a look at what's happening and watch what your competition is doing there right now. If not, then you're looked at someone that is looking from the outside in. Absolutely. But you have to be a student of what you're trying to accomplish, and the best place to do it is while they're having a meeting.
Absolutely.
All right, well, you guys have a good day. Good talking to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, caller. We were talking about economic development in the city of Niagara Falls, and I just want to put my plug in. I think economic development in the city of Niagara Falls needs to be separated from local government, and the reason I believe that is because I've witnessed for at least 20, 25 years that I've been paying attention to it, where many projects and many efforts and many initiatives have been started because of political influence and have been stopped dead in their tracks. Good projects dead on their tracks because of political influence, and bad projects moved right along because of political influence. Okay, and that's just the way it is. And I can name 2 or 3 right off the bat on both sides. Good and bad. But again, we have another caller on the line. Caller, you're on.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's cut through the chase.
Okay.
Okay, Niagara County, second highest tax county in the nation. Okay? I'm cutting through the chase. What do you think of the Niagara County IDA and the exemptions? On a press release on March the 13th of this year, it was reported that the town of Hempstead, IDA, provided $174 million in total tax exemptions, more than any other IDA outside of New York City. Listen to this. Followed by the Niagara County IDA of $147 million. Now, I want you to tell me what you think of the IDAs, because apparently no one that runs for office really addresses this issue, and it affects every constituency, because normally when IDAs are given out tax exemptions, they normally exempt the company from having to pay any county taxes or school taxes for a number of years. Now, I'm going to give you an illustration. These companies that are making tons of money, they don't believe people need to be educated, and they don't believe that they should support the county services. A number of these jobs are going to be on very bare minimum wages. There may be layoffs later on. Are they going to ask for county assistance? These are the areas that we need to have addressed. And as far as that Niagara County legislature, going to those meetings, you could put your back to those legislators, the Republican majority, and put your face to the wall and get more out of it, because they have done nothing but squander your money on their patronage positions, their frivolous lawsuits. Let's cut through the chase. Let's call in our state representatives and tell them that they need to do what they have to do to correct Albany and all the mandates, and they need to get with it to get New York State moving, this tax-free crap that this governor is pushing. You know, when someone doesn't pay their taxes, someone else has to pick up the bill. Let's hear you get down to the nitty-gritty on what you want to do to address patronage jobs, the IDA, tax exemptions, frivolous lawsuits, and what about exposing this Republican majority for what they are? They have been nothing but tax and spend. Thank you, and I'm going to listen to your comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Go ahead. We have about 90 seconds, 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I would say the first thing is awareness. That's the first step. So if that is an issue and that needs to be addressed, then I will be the voice to speak for that. I have no problem with speaking for what is right. You know, when I was growing up, my parents taught me that it doesn't matter if you're my child or not. Right is right and wrong is wrong. My parents would never support or defend me if I was doing something wrong, even if I was their child. That's been a principle that I've been raised with, and a family value that's been instilled with me, and I've always advocated for the people and what's in the best interest of the people. And if there's something that I have to do, I will definitely not be quiet on an issue like that.
Okay, we have about 45 seconds left, and caller, you're on. Yes, caller, you're on. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'm calling from Philadelphia. And my name is Rade Iba, and I know Saladin personally.
Well, you just have enough time to say hello to him, because we have to go off the air, but I appreciate it.
I just want to I don't really know too much about professionally what he does. I just know his character. I could just say personally that when he came to Philadelphia, and we have a school here, he just came to the school and he helped out. We're remodeling the building and everything.
Thank you. Thank you. We have to go off the air. I appreciate the call. Again, we'll be here Thursday on WJJL 1440, the Vince Anello Show. We were here with Saladin Allah, and Thursday we'll be here with Mr. Henry Watasik. Thank you very much, folks.